Good morning. Welcome to AVNewsCast.com.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
How's that for jumping in?
Yeah.
Huh? It's 8 o'clock. Wednesday, July 30th.
Yeah.
So, the big thing going on yesterday was the water break at UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and who's paying for that?
Well, we are.
Of course we are.
Well, DWP is.
Who will
GWP
then?
is. And really it's LA, so maybe we don't have to pay.
It's DWP. So their bill is going up.
Their bill is going up.
Yeah, and that's a shame. Because if it happened at your house, undeniably you're paying for it. But if they mess up or something happens, on a global kind of thing.
Yeah, they don't maintain their equipment.
No, then everybody pays for it. Like they're not being raped as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what a lot of people are saying.
Because it's the truth.
I know. It was what, a 93-year-old pipe. Okay.
Was it 93 years old?
93
They
years
should
old.
not. And you know what? It should come out their profits because they have a lot of it.
Yeah. Take it out
They
of that.
do.
Take it out of that mysterious fund they won't account for.
Yeah.
Maybe little by little we'll get to look at that fund.
We're not.
It's got like $250 million in it.
We're not.
But did you hear the estimate on how long it would take to actually replace all the piping and stuff?
No.
300 years.
But they should have started working on it a long time.
150 years ago.
Yeah.
I heard that they have between 3 and 5 of these kind of breaks, not this big,
Yeah.
but 3 to 5 every day in the city of LA.
That's a shame.
And we can't water our lawns.
And we can't water our lawns.
No, you can't. In fact, the city of Pasadena, they instituted fines to everybody 2 days ago. Second offense, $500. Third offense,
I haven't
$1,000.
heard a lot about this whole water your grass twice a week thing.
It's in LA County now. Now and LA County said, individual cities, it's up to you to police it. Okay? Here's an opportunity for you to get some revenue.
Yeah, I mean, I see
Go
the
get it.
water. I see the grasses being watered on my way home.
Oh, yeah.
There's a cycle.
I see a lot of hydrated sidewalks.
Yeah. Well, I don't see a lot of that, but I do see some green grass. And I see the sprays every day when I come home because it's on timers. People are watering their grass.
Well, is your grass green?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is too. Mm-hmm. How about you, Jeff?
Oh, yeah.
I ain't changing jack.
Look at the
I
nicest
better
lawn
see
on the
some
block.
desert going on first around the block. It takes too much to get that grass to be green.
Especially in this heat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Especially in this heat. So I was really surprised at how much water was coming out of this thing.
Oh, man.
And really what it did.
70-foot high geyser.
Now, Pauley Pavilion, where UCLA plays basketball, is about a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Downhill.
And it's flooded.
Yeah.
Okay? Totally flooded.
Yeah.
I used to go, when I was about 12.
Don't date yourself now.
Uh-oh.
When I was about 12. When I was 14, I'd ride my bicycle over to UCLA. And I'd
It was one of those with the big wheel in the front?
No,
Riding on
it
the
was...
back.
No, we invented, my generation actually invented BMX bikes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, really?
But anyway, yeah, we did.
Okay.
Okay. But I would ride my bicycle over to UCLA, and next to Pauley Pavilion, where the football field was, the practice field, I would be there, and I would play catch with Mark Harmon.
The actor.
Oh, okay.
Who was actually the quarterback for the UCLA Bruins. Okay?
Okay.
But I would also ride my bike over there, and when I was a little bit younger, and I would go to Pauley Pavilion. And we could ride our bicycles right on the basketball court. Mm-hmm. Okay, it was a long time ago.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Mm-hmm.
We'd watch him practice.
Wow.
That was a big deal.
He was from LA?
He was on the Bruins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a big deal. Mm-hmm. So they just spent about $100 million on Pauley Pavilion, renovating it.
Ooh. I hope they have flood insurance.
And now it's, you know what? They're going to go back to the city of L.A.
Yeah.
And you guys got to write us a big check.
Which is going back to the residents of L.A.
Mm-hmm. So that's another fee.
And it's going to be so sly. Like, you know, the surcharge on your DWP bill will just be $1.50 more in the beginning.
A little line item on
Just
page
a little,
15.
yeah.
They're going to creep it up little by little.
And then bam, in a year from now, you're just screwed again.
So I heard when they were shutting off the valves yesterday, they had to do it a certain way. Okay? Or the whole thing would explode.
Yeah, but to blow all the rest of it up.
And while they were shutting off the valves, they were doing it too fast.
Uh-oh.
And a quarter of a mile away from where this break was, the ground started to shake.
Ooh.
So they had to back it off again and start all over.
Let it out! Let it out!
And it took them about 2 hours to be able to shut it off. Okay? It has to be done in a certain way. Unbelievable, though.
Yeah,
Was that just out of control?
it is.
And they went and searched through every single car in the parking lot. And they were underwater, like 200 cars, looking, because it's a regular thing for kids to, between classes, sleep in their car.
Oh, they're not sleeping through that, though.
Well, they didn't want to find anything bad.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I mean, yeah, you got to do the search, but nobody's sleeping.
And then watching kids on boogie boards,
Yeah.
okay, all over UCLA and in the village.
They're going to
okay?
do what they do.
They're surfing down Westwood Boulevard.
Yeah.
Pretty out of control. Pretty out of control. Did
California.
That's California. Did you hear about Jesse Ventura's win in court yesterday?
No.
No.
You didn't? Jesse Ventura, once mayor of Minneapolis, governor, he filed a lawsuit a couple of years ago against Chris Kyle. He was the American sniper. He was killed at a firing range. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He filed a lawsuit against Chris Kyle because Chris wrote in his book that he and Jesse Ventura met each other, and I think it was here in Orange County, at an event. They got in an argument, and Chris knocked him out. Okay?
Isn't Chris dead, though?
Yes. This happened prior.
Right, but he sued him after he died?
He filed suit right when his book came out. Okay?
And he was alive?
Yes. Okay?
Why can't you just say, okay, suit's done, the dude is dead?
No, so get this. And he didn't...
You can't defame the dead.
Well, apparently we're getting there.
Can the dead defame you?
Actually, well, here's what he did, okay? Jesse Ventura said that fight never happened, okay? Chris Kyle was very upset.
Jesse Ventura said that.
Okay. Chris Kyle was very upset with
And neither
Jesse
did
Ventura.
9/11, according to Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Right.
He's one of them truthers.
He's one of those guys, okay?
Yeah.
And if you ask me, it's all about the money. But anyway...
Of course it is.
Chris Kyle didn't like Jesse Ventura because Jesse Ventura had made comments about SEAL Team 6, about the Navy SEALs, about the military, and Chris Kyle, who was, through and through a SEAL, he says, hey, you can't talk about the military like that, so we got an issue.
Yeah.
And he said he met Jesse Ventura and just went to
clocked
town
him.
and clocked him, okay?
And I believe that he could probably knock him out good.
Yeah.
Chris Kyle, of course, died. Jesse Ventura moved the lawsuit. Because Chris is dead, so now I'm going after his wife and the estate.
Disgusting! What a man!
Dirty.
What a man!
Because my reputation is tarnished. Okay?
Because a Navy SEAL knocked you out? I'm thinking that's not so bad.
I think a
They
Navy
go to
SEAL
court.
can knock out most folks.
Right.
Jesse Ventura argues in court, hey, this never happened. I wasn't there.
I mean, come on.
Ventura-
Why can't they throw that away? That's just stupid.
Ventura was UDT as well, so he's got...
What is that?
That was the precursor to the SEALs.
Precursor.
Right.
But still,
Precursor. He wasn't...
not somebody
he
to
didn't-
mess with.
Just like I just said to you, what was that? That's the whole,
No, and he's a big guy.
So?
He's not a little guy. Anyway,
Who for Wigno was big?
he says, look,
Don't talk
my comrades, my buddies, they don't even want to talk to me anymore.
And they're really going to
You've
not
ruined
talk
my
to you
reputation.
now. Because you're going after this dead man and his family. How many friends you got now?
They're in court. The jury can't reach a unanimous verdict. So the judge calls both attorneys in, and he says, look, we got a problem here, okay?
Dude is dead.
We're going to have a mistrial, okay? They can't reach a unanimous verdict. I can send them back in, let's make a deal, okay? Instead of 12 jurors unanimous, how about 8 out of 12? You guys want to accept that?
That
Okay.
shouldn't be acceptable.
It was
8
a crapshoot.
people?
It was a crapshoot. Both attorneys said, okay, we'll go for it. All right? Bring us 8, and we'll accept the verdict. Well, the attorney for Chris Kyle's estate and his wife, that was a bad mistake,
No.
Yeah.
okay? Because it didn't take very long to get 8. Mm-hmm. And they lost.
That's a shame.
Jesse Ventura won $1.845 million.
That's so
Just, they don't make a lot of
sad.
money. So now that family's destitute.
That's so sad.
They're going to be in hock forever.
And it got
I would
broken
pay
down.
you $10 a month.
It got broken down like this: $500,000 just for defamation. Okay,
But how do you prove that?
It was proven that
But
Jesse
how
Ventura was
could you
not
prove
there
it
at
when the
the time.
dude was dead? So maybe the date was a little off, but you can't ask him because he's dead.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I get it.
How do 8
Okay.
people say okay to that?
I understand what you're saying. Okay.
I
But on
tell
top
you,
of the
which is
$500,000 for
true.
defamation, it was also another $1.3 million for unjust enrichment. Because what you said in the book caused the book to sell more.
How do you know that? The book had no legs until you mentioned Jesse Ventura.
That's kind of what the argument was. Okay? That's kind of how it was. To go, yes, he does get some of the money from Harper & Collins, the publisher. Yes, he gets some of the money from Chris Kyle's estate and wife.
That's
shameful.
shame. Yep.
But
That's
all-
a stand-up
all of his-
man.
All of his, hocus pocus, I got a theory about it's all about the money. for
Of
him.
course it is.
Okay.
That's a stand-up man right there.
Right. And if he was a stand-up guy, he
would've-
wouldn't
he would've-
extract any money from the wife.
Right.
If he was a stand-up guy, he would have said, "Suit gone, gone. You lost your husband. I'm sorry for your loss. The last thing I want to do is put you through this nonsense because at the end of the day, it means nothing because you lost your husband."
Right.
That's what a stand-up guy does.
Yeah, well, he
A
didn't do
piece
that.
of crap does that.
So now it's up to the American public to determine, how,
I don't know
what
where they
esteem
get
they
these
want to
people
hold Jesse
from.
Ventura.
Because I'd have been like, nope. That's why they don't call me.
I guess
for
I'm
jury
taking
duty.
something off my DVR.
He says he lost a lot of business opportunities because
Whatever, dude. Pull up your man pants and do what you got to do.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, you're going to get a lot now.
Yeah. What?
Jesse, they're going to be banging at your door for opportunities
well,
now.
now his reputation has been restored
No, it hasn't.
because he didn't get knocked out.
Yeah, you probably did. Because it sounds like sour grapes. And just because 8 people who really have no clue of what happened because dude is
I want to know how many
dead.
SEALs now want to knock him out.
Oh, they want to line up.
Man, that's not a group you want to make angry.
They want to line up.
I don't like the guy. I didn't like him anyway. Okay. I didn't. He's in the same. I put him on the same shelf with Justin Bieber.
Ooh,
Okay.
damn.
And it doesn't get any worse than that.
Damn, that's
Oh,
bad.
Justin can do what he does. I don't care. But that guy, I don't like.
Somebody took a swing at Justin Bieber the other night. But when I could talk about that. Hey, in Fontana, they discovered yesterday, okay, a credit card skimmer that was at a gas station. And there was one here on Palmdale Boulevard at Valero a few months back. Okay, and you didn't know it. You got to pay attention to those things. You really got to pay attention.
Yeah, if they come out a little bit too far.
Just a little bit too far. Okay, if it looks like it shouldn't be there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to watch out for
Man.
those things because it can cause just a mess of problems.
Yeah.
They had one at a gas station in Fontana. It had been there. It could have been there for a month. Okay.
They were happy.
It wasn't transmitting remotely. So
Well, nobody goes out and walks. No employee checks the pumps.
it was the furthest pump from where you would pay.
You don't really pay attention, you know?
No employee should be out there. I mean, in this day and age.
Yeah.
Emptying the trash, don't you notice
Yeah.
something? You know,
You should go glance at the pumps while you're at it. Make sure there's nothing out of the ordinary.
big giant Apple IIc stuck on the front of this thing. I mean, you gotta notice something, right? Yeah, but nobody noticed.
That one looks funny. I ain't using that one. That's what they did.
Yeah, nobody noticed. Yesterday, a former elementary school teacher in Monterey Park, Jose Masquada, 44 years old, pled guilty to 3 counts of committing lewd acts upon children and 1 count of continuous sexual abuse. This all happened at a special ed school in Monterey Park. Okay? Here's what's interesting. Yeah,
No amount of suffering
What
that's
really makes
sufficient.
this really worse is
That they were special ed.
this happened. Look at the date we are. This happened back in October of 2011, and it took this long to go through trial.
Oh yeah,
and get a conviction.
Yeah, that's
okay?
that's the hand of justice.
Chuck wants me to invite Jesse to Bravery Brewery.
Oh, that'd be a good spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should reach out and invite him over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we should do. Did you hear about the story about the body of an unknown boy that was found in the C-130 aircraft yesterday that landed at Ramstein Air Base in Germany?
Oh no,
It was discovered in the wheel well.
Didn't work out for
one?
that one.
Not like the Hawaii kid, huh?
No, not at all.
The C-130s aren't all that pressurized and stuff like the commercial jets are.
Yeah, and this had landed, before it got to Germany, it had already landed at 4 and 5 other locations.
Oh.
And so they don't know how long he had been there, or whether he,
Wow.
whether it was the last stop.
How old?
They're not 100% certain yet.
So they don't even know where he caught the ride.
No. No, they don't. They don't know where he got the ride. They don't know how long he had been there for. And the military said, some of the places that we land,
Are remote.
in some places, they are remote and security might be a little bit lax.
Yeah, of course.
Okay? And
Not many people around.
Right.
That's a shame. Poor kid.
Yeah, because he obviously wanted out from wherever he was.
Yeah, badly.
And he was willing to...
He heard about that kid that made it to Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which was a very freak thing.
Whew.
Okay?
Scared to death. He had to have been.
I
Scared
couldn't
to
imagine
death.
that. I couldn't imagine that.
No.
Yeah. Did you hear about the woman in South Carolina? She worked at McDonald's. All right? What? You're smiling. All I said was a woman at McDonald's.
Well, because did you hear about the woman at McDonald's?
What?
It was definitely the South. And I can't remember the intimate details, but her boss was able to get her to go in the back room and take all her clothes off.
Nope. Jobs are tight.
Like an
What you
idiot.
gotta do.
She did it. Yeah. I will look it up and bring it to you in detail. It just struck that memory.
Is there more to the story?
I mean, you don't need more, really.
Okay.
She just took her clothes off like an idiot.
Joe, she's an idiot. No self-respect.
No. This is what it was.
She wanted a raise.
He did.
I don't remember what it was. It was some kind of scam. She was an employee there, and he was in cahoots with somebody else. And they were trying to get the girl to take her clothes off. And he brought her in the back room saying, "You stole, blah, blah, blah. I'm calling the police." And he's on the phone. He's pretending to be on the phone with the cops. And the cops are saying, "Well, tell her to take her clothes off."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, the cops said I can make you take your clothes off. So take your clothes off." And this idiot takes her clothes off. Because, yeah. She takes her clothes off. Because she thinks, well, I better take my clothes off before the cops really get here. Okay, so, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is a story about, this is in South Carolina.
Google it, Jeff.
This is a working mom, okay? She works at McDonald's to put food on the table and a roof over their head, right?
That's her job.
She used to bring her daughter, who was 9 years old, she would bring her to work. And her daughter would sit at a table.
And eat French fries.
No, she would just sit at a table for 8 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
Basically doing nothing.
Playing on the computer.
In the summertime.
Yeah, playing on the computer. But I think the computer got stolen, right?
It sure did.
So the computer got stolen.
In the summertime.
Yeah. So
Okay.
now the child is sitting there with nothing to do.
Coloring.
Whatever. Okay? So, but right down the street, okay, there's a park where a lot of the kids gather and they all play. All right? All right? So Mom thought, I feel really bad about this. So I'm going to let my daughter,
Go to the park.
who's 9, no, I'm going to take her to the park.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to take her to the park.
At my break.
And let her see some friends. She can play there. Stay there while I'm at work.
Yeah,
and
that's
I'll
what I
come back.
thought. I thought you were
Okay?
going to say that stupidness.
Okay?
Left your 9-year-old at the park.
A woman noticed the 9-year-old there, and she would see her every day, okay? And she'd line up to get an ice cream cone or whatever was going on. And there's a lot of other kids she's playing with. But she noticed that she wasn't supervised by a specific adult.
Right.
So she called the police. And the police came. And they investigated the whole thing. And they arrested the mother, Deborah Harrell. She spent 17 years in jail.
What?
17 days in jail, hold on.
Oh, okay.
But she's facing today 10 years in prison
What?
for felony child neglect. South Carolina criminalizes
Man, I
leaving a
tell
child
you.
at an unreasonable risk. And she's now facing 10 years in prison.
And that ain't going to bring no risk to the child.
Yeah, it's,
That'll
you know
secure
what?
the kid.
Now, what do you think
We're
about this?
so backwards. I mean, yes, she should have at least...
She couldn't afford childcare.
Right.
Okay?
Well, she could afford child. What state is this?
South Carolina. She
Okay, I
didn't
don't know.
qualify to do anything. She
So
couldn't
she
get
made a
anything.
little bit too much to have the county help her with childcare.
Right. Could not get childcare.
She had no
Okay?
friends or family. Everybody's hustling at work trying to do their own thing.
Right.
So you sit at the park and you befriend some nice lady that's always taking her kids to the park. And you say, can you keep an eye on my kid?
Perhaps she should have done that.
Because now your kid has no mom. That's so stupid, though. I don't think that the punishment does not fit the crime.
After she got out of jail, it took her a long time to get the daughter back.
Poor baby.
Okay? And now she's looking at 10 years in prison. Okay? On top of
Now
it,
she has no job.
but McDonald's fired her.
Yeah, of course.
Okay?
You can't be serving no Happy Meals and going to jail for child neglect.
She lost custody temporarily of her
Right.
daughter. Lost her job.
Right.
Can't afford an attorney.
Don't have a
facing 10
place
years
to
in
live.
prison.
Ugh. I wonder how that woman that reported her feels. The woman that
Welcome.
reported her could have said to her, "Listen, I noticed that you bring your baby here every day, and I'm here a lot. Do you need help? We can't come from a place of helping.
Does the punishment fit the crime?
Heck no. Do you think it does?
No, I don't. But I'll say this, though. Okay? I at 9 years old,
Oh yeah, I would never do
wouldn't-
it.
No.
No,
That I wouldn't do.
no.
But 10 years in prison.
I told you, I go in the bathroom with the boys.
What? What are you doing in there?
What you mean? What am I doing in there? What are those men doing in there?
You mean if you take the boys, you're at a restaurant?
Yes.
Right.
I'm a little loony with that kind of stuff. I get it, but you just don't do that. You don't leave your kid at the park. You don't leave your kid at the park, lady.
She felt bad.
Now
her
she
daughter
feels
was sitting
worse.
So she.
But what
left-
about the Boys and Girls Clubs? That's nationwide. There's Boys and Girls Clubs everywhere.
You know what? I don't know. I can't second guess anything.
Sure you can. That's what we do.
No, I can't. I don't know why
That's
she
what we
didn't.
do
You know.
every day. We pass judgment, and you tripped out, lady. You know, we're just going to talk because clearly Steve is busy with his phone.
No, I'm just saying. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Remember the plane the other day that dropped out of the sky in Florida?
Yeah,
And,
that hit those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't just a little bit so you didn't have to hit nobody? I mean, you landed on a beach.
The pilot yesterday said he could see no one.
Okay, then that's why.
He couldn't see anyone. I didn't understand why
Poor thing.
no one could hear it, but it had no engine on.
That's why you couldn't hear it.
Okay.
It's just soaring.
He was just in glide mode.
Yeah.
Yesterday, the little girl, the 9-year-old, she died.
Oh, she died?
Yeah. Yeah, that's terrible.
And it's such a freaky thing. You never think you're going to get hit by a plane if you take your kid to the beach. You're worried about your husband not watching her good and she drowning.
And
Not
the great whites.
Yeah, Jeff's afraid of the sharks.
Yeah.
He won't go in the water.
Huh?
He won't go in the ocean.
Really?
I just wouldn't go down there in Palos Verde because it was right up from Manhattan Beach. And
Well, that makes sense.
There's been a rash of sightings here recently. So yeah, I'm not
That
gonna
makes
tempt fate.
absolute sense. I was in Costa Rica for vacation one time, and we went whitewater rafting, and we got to the point, they're telling you, they're emphasizing, don't put your hands in the water, because there's crocs in the water.
Yeah.
So you don't have to tell me that, but one time I see all the monkeys, and I'm like, yo, we are not in civilization. This is not my area. I'm not putting my hand in nothing. Then, we do the whitewater rafting, and then we get to a point where they're like, oh, you can get in the water now. I was like, what? Didn't you just say over there, don't put your hand in the water? How do they know not to come over here? Like, it makes no sense. And people are just in the water. Oh, they said it's safe. Psh.
Yeah, it's toothpick fish.
Right.
Oof. That's the last thing I want to deal with.
What's toothpick fish?
If you're
Piranha?
in like the Amazon, if you're standing on the edge of your boat and you relieve yourself, that actually attracts them, and they'll swim up the stream, and they got backward-facing barbs, and they actually swim right into the urethra, and you have to have it cut open to pull them out.
No, you know what? Do we really?
That's what it is.
It's a toothpick fish.
I'm an idiot for asking.
Yeah, well, you walk into it. You walk into it.
But talk about, can you think of anything scarier than that?
No.
Oh,
Especially
the
for a
pain.
guy.
Oh, the pain.
I want to ask a question, but I'm not going to because it's just going to
Better not.
a whole nother thing. Yesterday, Vin Scully, LA Dodgers announcer, announced that he is coming back for his 66th season.
Whew. Can he see?
Of course he could see. Okay. And the fact that the
but
Dodgers
how old
today,
is he if this is his 66th season?
86.
Can he see?
Yes.
What is he looking at?
Have you don't watch the Dodgers on TV or listen on the radio or anything?
What is it, like magnitude 350? No. What do you mean? He doesn't have to watch the game?
This is, of course he watched. No, he makes it all up.
But I'm just saying, how you...
We just won the pennant.
Who is that?
He's a great announcer.
Okay.
Great announcer. Has been the announcer every year for 66 years. Okay? People that used to listen to him when they were teenagers are now collecting Social Security.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a valid question. Can the man see?
No. What do you mean?
I mean,
Cataract.
He's doing great.
All right.
Okay?
That's great.
He's doing great.
You don't know what he's looking at.
Yeah, he does. You know, you got to listen to it. And especially now, since the Dodgers are only on Time Warner, nobody else can see the Dodgers. Everybody's listening to Fox Sports.
I don't like the Dodgers.
Nope.
They should have paid that man's family.
Yeah.
But this is the new Dodgers.
Right,
The new GM.
The new GM.
The new GM.
They should have paid that man's family.
Frank McCourt should have been a good guy because he's got the money,
He sure does.
Okay.
He sure does.
having sold the team for almost $2 billion.
Yeah.
He should have been a good guy and just cut the guy a check.
Yeah.
Worked with his insurance company and said, you know what, why don't you pony up 20
Even if
and I'll
it was
pay
a
20."
non-disclosed amount. Because maybe there's a lot of beat-up fans around that he's like, I don't want people lining up. He should be doing something for that family. That's just shameful.
Yeah, well, but he didn't have to. And he took it all the way to court.
And that's what it is.
And he probably
unless
spent
you make
$8 million.
me, I'm not doing it.
He probably spent $8 million in legal fees.
Right.
Okay? That could have gone to Brian Stowe.
Right. Cut him a check for $2 million. But the attorneys are not going to tell him that either, because they're like, "Oh, you're not going to not pad my pockets to just make this nice and quick."
I know. Hey, yesterday Jeff and I were at kind of a cool thing.
Yes.
Palmdale City Council yesterday in council chambers. They had a sister city from South Carolina. No.
Oh.
No. Sister city, Lancaster.
Although
that was cute.
We did get a little piece of Lancaster there.
We did. Sandra Johnson was there.
Okay.
Councilwoman from Lancaster. But it was kind of nice because they had from South Korea a sister city. How do you pronounce the city's name, Jeff?
Yanchun,
Yanchun,
I believe.
Okay, they are, and it's actually a county. Okay, and I did a little research and looked them up, and they're right about at the border of North Korea.
Yeah, right on the DMZ.
And the edge of their county is barbed wire fencing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with North Korean military on the other side. They go right up to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but both cities now are going to work together and create and establish teaming relationships, which will help the economy all the way around.
Yeah, I'd like to see a big LG plant in Palmdale. A big Samsung plant in Palmdale.
Nice.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, that would be kind
That would be really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But what was nice yesterday was...
Where's Sony from?
Japan.
So
I think their day is, in a lot of ways, their day has come and gone. You know, they make the bulk of their money from, they have insurance companies in Japan. They sell insurance. That's where the bulk of their money is coming from.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What was nice was the mayor of this county yesterday gave a speech, and it was how many years ago to the day of the Korean War?
Oh.
Almost?
100?
Okay. No, not 100.
50?
No.
25.
No, I think it's 60.
I told you about
60.
that. I was watching everything was Korean
He says
yesterday.
no, not 100, like I'm way off. It's 60.
Anyway.
I was watching, there's a new show that came on. I got the pilot called Manhattan.
Yeah, I was going to watch that.
But I found an error in the show. I was looking at the colonel of the base, and I was checking out his ribbons, and he had the 2 Korean War service ribbons with his set of stuff.
Oh, a little ahead of the game,
Yeah,
huh?
it started in 53.
A little ahead of
Or
itself.
50 and ended in 53.
It looked nice.
It looked nice,
Yeah.
but it wasn't too accurate.
So anyway.
Yeah, but everything I saw reference to Korea at least 9 times yesterday when they're talking about the baseball player speaking in Korean, talking about Vince Scully. It was on The Simpsons. I mean, it just everywhere. It was the weirdest confluence of events. It was just Korea was in my face all throughout. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's just kind of funny that it worked that way.
As long as they bring some restaurants.
Oh, some Korean barbecue. Mm-hmm. That's not so expensive.
I thought they opened one where Love Sushi used to be on
Oh,
Tuesday.
yeah, they did. Yeah.
Oh, really? Is it a real Korean spot, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
They used to have one at at least I think they used to have one that was at the outlet mall. And it was too pricey to get anywhere near. Mm-hmm. So they can get the cost down. That'd be great. I want a Brazilian barbecue.
I haven't had that.
Oh. You have this dowel. You have this dowel on your table, and one half of it's painted green and one half is painted red. And as long as the green side is up, they keep coming around with all these different meats on spits.
Uh-huh.
And if you leave there hungry, you have to starve yourself for 3 days before going to that.
All right.
Something like
I'm going to have to try it out.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm sorry, you got me.
It's okay.
Yeah. Want me some meat.
Anyway, what I was going to say, I don't even remember now. That's unreal.
The speech.
No, I do remember.
The man had said something
It was
about...
nice that the mayor that was here representing the county of South Korea during his speech, said, and he spoke Korean, and then there was an interpreter, wanted to be certain to thank all of the Americans for coming to their aid during the Korean War.
Mm-hmm.
Had that not happened, he wouldn't be here today.
Oh, that's nice of him.
And I thought that was nice.
That was what he started with.
Okay.
That's nice of him.
Yeah. Because this wasn't just about, business and making money. And, he wanted to be...
I wonder what country can come and not thank us. Because we're nosy in everybody's business.
Yeah. We just put more sanctions on Russia.
We better leave Russia alone.
That Cold War
Russia start
starting
taking
back
some
up
swigs.
again.
There was a report yesterday that North Korea wanted to send missiles to Washington, D.C.
And we don't have the Iron Dome. Okay,
but they got bottle rockets that can't even make it 6 miles off their coast.
They do. They blow their own fuel off.
They explode right on the launch pads.
They really do. But and when that was said to me yesterday, I said, you know what? If they even launched one toward us, they'd be gone.
Yeah.
Russia would be gone.
We're talking about
North Korea.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You got to follow with me.
Yeah, I was really not with you.
They'd have a huge parking lot for that amusement park they were talking about yesterday.
Okay, got it now.
Yeah. So you're going to have some footage of that stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
What was the amusement park?
Actually, kind of like a sort of a Disneyland themed kind of.
They want to bring that here?
In Korea.
In Korea.
It's a beautiful area with this river running.
We've got plenty of land out here.
But they're going to have
need any more.
Yes, we can always do another amusement park.
They have 2 big hotels, like castles,
Nice.
representing the north and the south parts, and then the big peace village in the middle, and rides and like an adventure land kind of thing where you go through and see the indigenous wildlife and
Nice.
sound like a really nice place.
I would love another amusement park. I wonder what they're going to do with Colossus gone. What they're going to do with that spot. Man.
I'm hoping they expand the water park.
That'll work too.
I'm hoping that I have no desire to go to any other theme park ever again. I'm just done with them.
Oh,
but I do like water slides.
I love theme parks in the wintertime, preferably when it's raining.
Yeah, it's fun riding Viper when there's it's just barely.
There's just no lines. Nobody goes in October. Love it. Right?
Okay. All right.
No?
No, I'm not big on theme parks.
Yeah.
Except Disneyland.
I'm done with Disney.
You definitely have to go in October.
Yeah.
Disneyland is the only place to go.
For what?
Because it's Disneyland.
Just to walk around them and to watch the shows?
Yeah.
No, I want to be scared.
Yeah.
And
That's why I like
it's
the
so
water
funny because the older you get, the more scared you are because you really know you can die on this.
That's why I like the water slides because you're so restrained in the roller coasters. You're all harness and belts and all.
The water ride, you can flip right off that thing.
Yep, it's just your body flinging through space. I love it.
Did you check out the tornado at Magic Mountain at the water park?
I've been on pretty much everything at the water park there.
That thing is ridiculous.
Although I'm glad there's no smoking anymore. Because the first time I went to Hurricane Harbor, they still allowed people to smoke, and I stepped on a cigarette. Oh, that was miserable.
Yeah, that'll mess your whole day up.
Mm-hmm. It did.
I don't go on any of those rides.
Oh.
Why?
Because I'm chicken.
Oh. Not even as a kid?
I don't know. My memory doesn't go back that far. Maybe.
Yeah, Steve, a thrill for him is, not having to get up to pee twice.
No, Thanks, Jeff.
That was good. Would you go like whitewater rafting?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so you're good with outdoor stuff that doesn't have the seatbelt that will ensure that you're not going to kill yourself.
Yeah, because I know how to swim and I can deal with that and I can handle that. Yeah, that's fine. But a roller coaster I did that stupid damn ride at Knott's Berry Farm on that wooden one.
Oh, I won't ride a wooden coaster.
Okay, and that was not
Those
good.
are the best.
No, they
What do
rattle
you
your
mean?
fillings
They're
out.
rickety.
You're hearing it. Like,
And you think it's going to fall down.
yeah, you're hearing the wood crack as
Yes.
going around.
Yeah.
I told you the story about when I was a kid and
yeah.
went on the... You remember the corkscrew from Knott's Berry Farm?
No.
It's not there anymore, but it was one that did these 2 loops. And they had the harness and everything, and they put it down, and they put my father's down, and went clink! And they put mine down. There was silence. And I was like, well, that's
Where's
weird.
my
That's
clink?
That's kind of weird. So, I push it in towards me, and no clink. And I start to lift it up, and then the coaster shoots out of the station.
Ooh.
So I'm hugging the thing for dear life. We go through the first loop, and it's fine. I go through the second loop, and I start rising off of my seat.
Wow.
Yeah, but it never stopped me from going on coaster.
Yeah, that might have put a little
Would have done it for you.
yeah. I might have sat down for the rest of my life on that.
Cindy wants to do that one where they have that wire that goes straight down from the stratosphere in Vegas. Mm-hmm. And you just leap off.
Yeah,
And
that
then
was cool.
slowly, as you near the ground, as it's rushing up to you, it slowly starts to cinch off and slow you down.
Yeah. I don't know. I bungee jumped. And that was the scariest thing I've
I've
never
seen
do
From your
again.
feet upside down?
No.
I've seen too many of those things break. And
Just free fall.
How far down did you go?
I don't know. I was in Mexico. I don't know. I didn't
Oh, in
know.
Mexico?
Yeah.
Oh.
Are we talking like you jumped 3 feet down, or was it like
No.
hundreds of feet?
It was hundreds. It was ridiculous. I'll never do it again.
Oh.
Never will I do that again.
Did it look like you were going to touch the ground?
I thought I was going to die.
You did.
Yeah, I
It scared
thought
you.
there was no way you could not get me to believe that I was not going to die. I was going to die.
Sometimes that rubber band breaks,
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And all of that goes through your head as you jump.
Okay.
And the fact that you're in Mexico.
Oh.
And I'm
Dude, were there
thinking
headstones
that
down below you?
freaking tequila, no?
If you know that there's a good chance that you could die, well, why do you go
I
through
just
it?
have partners of crime that we
Peer
are
pressure.
dear devils and we will always do something.
No, you guys were drinking tequila.
Yeah.
Yeah. That did it, right?
Yeah.
You ate the worm.
I just, yeah,
Uh-huh.
eat almost anything then.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
I could not.
I've had
do
a
that
couple
at
of near deaths behind liquid courage. It's a bad thing. I
Doesn't
don't do
that
it
tell you
anymore.
something?
Yeah, I don't do it anymore. I don't do it anymore, yeah.
Not good. Not
Yeah.
good at all. You guys heard about Abigail Hernandez. She was a 14-year-old girl who was kidnapped back in October.
From where?
Okay.
No, I don't recall.
On her way home, she was kidnapped, was just walked into the house on July 20th of this year.
Yeah. She was on her way home from school.
She was kidnapped by a guy. The guy's name is Nathaniel Kirby, okay? He was holding her, okay, against her own free will, okay? He was holding her, and get this, okay? While he held her prisoner, he had been arrested and released twice.
Oh!
Twice. For other things.
Well, I guess
Okay.
they don't go check your house if they arrest you. Right?
I know.
They just
Because they
take
couldn't,
you.
right?
Yeah. So she
Well,
was
John
locked up in the
Gacy-
house or something?
She was locked up in the house.
Wow. So she could have starved to death if he was
Actually,
sentenced.
She is so thin and so malnourished
Poor thing.
that she cannot even eat solid food right now.
Oh.
Now, how long was she gone for?
9 months.
9 months.
Poor thing. And she just walked in the house? How'd she get released?
I don't know the details.
Of course.
Okay? I don't know the details because attorneys have requested that everything be under seal right now
Oh.
for a number of different reasons. One, she's a minor, and probably whatever she went through was so horrendous.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that they just don't want this out in the public
Poor
right
baby. How does she have a life
Okay.
now? That Elizabeth Smarts, she's a sleeper,
Yeah.
I think. Because she went through some stuff. And she's just way too smiley, blonde. Life is beautiful. Do not play with her.
But you think she'll just
go postal at some
She
point?
will look, she's been through some stuff. And she acts like, oh, everything is great. And I work on nonprofits and bring your children. I'll protect them. No. Liz.
Well, I don't know, and they're not saying really what went on, but
Well, we can imagine what went on. How did he get her, though?
Prosecutors, she was on her way home.
Just snatched her out the street.
14.
Yeah, she's now 15.
14.
Okay.
And you would think, I don't know, what grade is 14?
9th?
Nah, my kid's not going to school by herself at 14. I'm coming home.
Well, I won't let my son ride the bus alone.
Yeah. Nope. I think maybe a junior.
No, I'm not even doing that. No, because this is, you know what? We've got a high concentration of nutcases. Okay?
Yeah, that's true, Steve.
Yeah, they're pumping new ones every day into here.
You know? So, no, it's just not going to happen.
I believe. But what about college? I mean, there's a new show that's coming out on college nightmares and how kids are being killed.
Oh, through what? You mean hazing, stuff like that?
Hazing or just random violence in college. And it's like, dang, you work so hard to help your kids get to the point of the rest of their life, and they can't even get through college.
We've got violence everywhere.
Yeah.
The world is a different place today.
The world is the same place. It's just intensified.
There you go, Angelina.
Nothing new under the sun.
Huh.
Trust her with your kid?
What? Oh.
Oh, who's that, Elizabeth Smart?
Yeah.
She looks wholesome.
Look at those eyes.
She looked like...
She looks... Well, the world is a different place today. Totally. And what I used to be able to do. I mean, at the beginning of the show, I told you, it was probably a 4-mile bike ride from my house, from my house in Westwood proper to UCLA, okay? And I could make that ride when I was 12 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
I used to ride my bike from my folks' place over by where the mall is to Palmdale High School every morning.
Yeah, and I rode my bike to Michael Jackson's house.
Oh, on Havenhurst? I used to pass that going to Gelson's there all the time. And dummies all out there.
There was no Gelson's when you were a kid.
What?
There were no Gelson's when you were a kid?
No, I wasn't a kid when I would go down here.
Oh, okay.
No, I had a house on Balboa.
Okay. Yeah, I would, me and my girlfriend.
Excuse me, there was a Gelson's. Excuse me.
Here we go.
Just a minute. And if my mom's listening, there was, and I believe the first one was in Century City, and it was downstairs on the first floor.
I hope your mother corrects you or something.
Okay, nope.
You used to stand right behind Abraham to get your locks.
I'm telling you, there was a Gelson's in Century City.
I hope your mother corrects
Okay.
you. Okay, you could Google that at least, Jeff.
Okay. Yeah, when I was a kid. Yeah.
It's probably
I used to
called
ride
Gladys or something.
No. Gladys. I used to ride my bicycle to what is today Century City, okay?
Yeah.
And to what is today where the Century Plaza Hotel is. We would ride, and there was nothing there, all right? And we would ride our bicycle, and we would stop, okay? Right at the edge of the dirt, and we would sit and we would watch.
Right.
Because down below, they were filming Gilligan's Island.
Nice. I love that show.
That's what would take place there.
That's nice.
Okay.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Founded 1951.
Thank you.
Wow.
Gelson's.
You're older than I thought you were.
No, Gelson's has just been around longer than you thought.
Oh, okay. I thought he said he was there for the opening.
Yeah, he cut the ribbon.
I was a chamber member at 6.
Right. 1951.
I was not born when Gelson's first opened.
Okay.
Okay. But there was a Gelson's. Okay. So were you one of the? You were one of the people that when I lived in the Valley, and I'd drive down Havenhurst on my way to Gelson's there because that's the market I went to. You were one of those knuckleheads out in front of Michael Jackson's in the driveway, huh? 81.
In 81. We used to ride.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it wasn't a lot.
Wow.
I mean, we would just ride down there and say, "Ooh, let's see what we can see," and just hate that fence and that gate because it was too. It was too good.
I would drive, and there was always 20, 30 people hanging out right there at the gate at Michael Jackson's. And I'm like, what a bunch of nuts.
Yeah.
Okay? And that was you.
That was me. Well, my girlfriend was going to be Michael Jackson's wife. She was.
Sure she was.
She was going to be. She even looked like him.
That was Macaulay Culkin.
Uh-huh. She even looked like him.
Yeah, she had the jerry curl, and she just looked like him.
Is that one little curl that comes out in front?
She would do that whole thing.
I can't hear Jerry curl and not think about Coming to America.
Yeah,
that was the funniest scene ever.
You didn't see it, huh?
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
We talked about it a week ago on the show.
Here we go.
What? I don't remember talking about it.
Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, come on. We talked about that show.
Really?
That movie on this show.
Really? Why?
Because we were talking about actors that could play multiple roles in movies.
And we said, who? Eddie Murphy can do that?
Somebody was talking about an actor on a film that recently came out, and a guy was playing dual roles.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And I mentioned, hey, Eddie Murphy does that better.
No, I don't recall. Really?
I don't. When you say you don't recall, that means you do remember. You don't want to admit it now.
No, I don't. I have no memory. Really, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, we did. We talked about that. And I said Eddie Murphy. Okay.
But we didn't talk about the Jerry curl.
No, we didn't talk about the Jerry curl thing.
Yeah, I know that we didn't do that. Yeah.
No, that we didn't do. No. And we all saw, remember the Maribel Ramos murder trial? Do you remember that? She was discovered in a shallow grave, lived with a guy, and he was in love with her. But she wasn't really in love with him.
It was in his 50s.
They had a big fight because he couldn't come up with his share of the rent.
Okay.
Okay? And then she went missing.
No, I don't remember that. But why do you bring it up?
I bring it up because he was just convicted of second-degree murder. His sentencing is scheduled for September 12th. Okay? She was found in a shallow grave in the Santa Ana Mountains in 2013.
September 12th is when he's going to be sentenced?
Yes.
When is the sheriffs that were found guilty going to be sentenced?
I have to check on that.
Yeah, because that's kind of quick. I mean, we got a date already. Bam. You're going to get sentenced then. When are they going to get their little... you got to get them before they go to Costa Rica.
They're not going anywhere. I can tell you that. They could not leave.
They could try.
No, that'll be an immediate red flag.
Yeah.
Okay?
So it's the fact
like we don't turn a blind eye to red flags every...
Right.
No. Okay. No, they couldn't leave the country. No, I'm sure of that. What I don't understand, though, is, it's been a little bit quiet, so I think, it's the quiet before the storm.
Oh, yeah, they're working hard.
And I'm waiting for the Paul Tanaka thing.
Yeah. Well, I think there's going to be some more sheriffs, too. Because that was like the entry to mid-level. Now we got to go up a step.
Well, there's still about 18 that haven't yet been prosecuted.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're just rounding the next group up.
Right, but maybe people are trying to work out sentencing.
Oh, they're cutting deals.
Yeah, what can I can tell you about this and this.
Yeah,
and this.
I'll quit if you leave me alone.
I got a notebook that shows all this stuff.
Oh, they done made up the notebook.
Just to try to save themselves.
Yeah.
I think you'll see a couple of guys go to prison.
Out of the 6, you mean?
Yeah.
Only a couple.
Only a couple. Okay. I think you'll see
Well,
some
that
probation.
makes sense. That makes sense.
You'll see some probation stuff and people,
But a girl
home
who leaves her
confinement.
6-year-old at the park that nothing happens to is looking at 10.
Yeah.
She was a 9-year-old, but here's the thing.
No, 10 years. Right? 10 years? Or
She's
17
looking.
years?
Yeah, she's looking at 10 years.
Okay.
Okay. It was stupid choice.
It was a stupid choice.
Because you don't do that.
Right. So she should get some probation, some parenting classes, some watch her, because she's in a bad place. Like she can't figure it. She can't do it alone. But the punishment of 10 years away from your child.
Yeah.
I mean, unless there was other proof that she was abusive to her child in some way, she made a bad choice. She doesn't need 10 years in prison.
Do you think 45, 50 years ago we had as many sexual predators
Yeah, I
then
do.
as we do now?
Yeah, I do.
Per capita, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
Look at the history of the Catholic Church.
I was walking.
Bam!
Yeah. It's not a new thing.
I was walking to school in 4th grade.
Yeah. And you just, by
Myself.
the grace of God, you made it. By the grace of God, I
Well,
made
it was
it.
only 1 block away. Okay.
Okay. Me
And-
too.
And I would walk with other friends because, all the kids from the neighborhood went. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was safe. And we never had a problem.
It was, by the grace of God.
Never had a problem at all.
But-
I'd walk down to the.
But
I'd walk
Steve,
down to the corner market.
There's nothing new under the sun. I mean, there's
No.
nothing new.
No.
Look at Caligula.
Yeah, I sent you
That's
that
a
100
sick movie.
It's a sick movie, but it was stuff that was happening.
I sent you that collected works of the Marquis de Sade. I mean, that
Yeah.
I defy you to find something new.
New. You can't
Wasn't in
find
that book.
nothing new. You can't.
None of this was reported on.
Social media, the way it is, it's instantly reported now. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
in
just
your
in your
face
face,
stuff.
yeah.
But it was done, and in small areas, people knew the guy at the corner that used to live there did bad things to girls. I mean, people knew. Mm-hmm. I had a babysitter.
No.
That it was like 5 of us in the house, and all of a sudden she was like taken to the side and treated like gold, and no one understood why. And then like 20 years later, I found out that her father was molesting her. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why didn't you tell everybody? Because he used to try to tell me to come over all the time. Like, you should tell everybody so that all the kids could, raise their hand if they've been, touched or...
Kids weren't, but people weren't educated that way.
Yeah,
back then,
it was
okay?
hush-hush.
It was.
Yeah. But it was terrible because you don't know who else was damaged by this man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, kids are smarter today. Parents are smarter
Parents
today.
are smarter.
We
Kids are not
educate the kids.
necessarily smarter.
Okay. Some are. I think. Some are.
don't think so.
But I think the world's changed. Look, our population in America has quadrupled since I was a kid, okay? Mm-hmm. So I know we didn't have the amount of crazy whack jobs in America that we do today.
Oh, I still think we do.
Eddie Gein, Albert Fish. Yeah, they're just...
No, I don't think so.
I just think it was more hush-hush back then.
Well,
For the same
Albert
reason.
Fish was way back in the day, and they tried to put him in the electric chair, and he shorted it out because of all the pins he stuck in his body while he wasn't... Yeah,
Wow.
they're just as nuts
Yeah.
back then as they are today. There's just more people...
So he stuck a lot of
and-
pins in his body to throw the machine off?
No, that was one of his weird little things when he wasn't murdering little kids.
Oh, good Lord.
Well, we're just about out of time, which is
Yeah.
good because
On
this has
that
been
note.
a huge stretch. Okay. Wow. Okay. Thanks for listening to us. Thanks for making us the #1 news talk radio program in the Antelope Valley. Have a really good day. And by the way, there's a DUI checkpoint, a driver's license checkpoint in Lancaster. Not going to tell you where, but don't be an idiot because it's going to be this Friday. Okay, don't be stupid. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day.